Princess Peach is the girl of the Mario series, besides all of them. Since Super Mario Bros., Peach has been the damsel in distress, the light of Mario's eye, and Bowser's obsession. But she's also been playable through the years. Super Mario Bros. 2 famously included her as one of the 4 playable characters. She's in Smash Bros., Mario Kart, all of the Mario sports games, also Minecraft. But along with all of these appearances, Peach has gotten her very own games where she plays the starring role.
And so, I've finally done it. I've collected every single Princess Peach game that there is. That's right, over Peach's 30-year history, there have only been these 2 games that she starred in. Alright, actually, that's not technically the truth. There's one more.
In 1990, Nintendo partnered with McDonald's to release 3 Super Mario Bros. Game watches in both Japan and the United States to promote the release of Super Mario World. Mario and Luigi both got watches, but the third game watch was Princess Toadstool's Castle Run, and was technically Peach's first playable appearance as the only character. Castle Run is a simple high-score based game where Peach runs towards her castle and an army of Koopas stand in her way. It's a fairly basic game, and there are probably a million clones out there, but as far as McDonald's toys go, it's not awful.
This cost me $200.
Plus a game directly right on your wrist? Who would have possibly thought of that? Peach's first real game wouldn't come until 2006 with the Nintendo DS, Super Princess Peach, co-developed by Nintendo and Tosei, who mainly helped Nintendo with developing the Game & Watch Gallery series, but who also helped with Wario Land 2 and Mario's Tennis on the Virtual Boy. Super Princess Peach opens on Vibe Island, where Bowser currently has his minions searching for the Vibe Scepter, a magic wand that can control people's emotions. After finding it, Bowser sends his forces of evil to the Mushroom Kingdom to use it to kidnap Mario and Luigi. Fortunately, Peach was out on a walk when all this happened, and returns to find the Toads peeing their pants and a note from Bowser explaining everything that happened. Well, that was actually kinda nice of him. In her girl boss era, Peach decides that this time she will go and rescue Mario. Toadsworth doesn't like her going by herself, so to help in her journey, he gives her a parasol? Perry the parasol! Yes, Peach is joined by Perry, the magical talking parasol, who has all sorts of abilities that Peach can take advantage of on her adventure. So off she heads to Vibe Island. The art style of this game is so cute. Like, looking at Peach and all the little enemies and these sprites is just so charming. Games in this era really leaned into 3D models now that we had a handheld that could actually do that, but sprite-based stuff has really aged so nicely in the decades since. Each area of the island has 5 levels on first visit, plus a boss fight. Within each level, there are also 3 toads that have been captured and need rescuing. Starting out, the game is a straightforward platformer, and Peach's abilities are fairly basic. But if we take a look at the bottom screen, we can find... The bottom screen holds 4 different vibes that can be activated, each giving Peach different abilities that can be used so long as the vibe meter has even a little bit available. The Joy vibe grants Peach the ability to spin around so fast that she can float and create a tornado around herself. The Rage vibe makes Peach's jumps insanely powerful and also sets her on fire.
That's my secret.
The Gloom vibe makes Peach cry an unreasonable amount of tears and also grants her the ability to run really fast. And the Calm vibe allows her to regain her HP slowly over time. While the vibes impact Peach herself, they also allow her to solve puzzles or overcome obstacles. Joy's tornadoes can break up clouds. Gloom's speed lets her cross donut blocks that fall too quickly, and can also spin water wheels and grow whole-ass beanstalks. And Rage, of course, can ignite things, but can also help you press down on big switches. Enemies throughout the game are also impacted by the Vibe Scepter, causing some to behave similarly to Peach's version of the vibe. Nearly every enemy has a normal form and at least one vibe form, which is clever and also gives a point to the whole Vibe Scepter in the actual levels. Like, here's a normal Goomba, and then here's a sad Goomba, and then there's an angry Goomba. I think my favorite has to be Mad Boo, who behaves the opposite of a regular Boo. He'll move towards you when you're looking at him and will get shy when he's not being perceived. Perry isn't just there to bonk all those enemies on the head though. He gets all sorts of abilities too. One of his most useful is scooping up enemies and fucking eating them, which fills up Peach's vibe meter a bit. The toad that runs the shop also sells some useful abilities for Perry, like the ability to briefly float, a ground pound, and a charge attack. He can also turn himself into different forms. A boat to cross areas of water, he can hook onto long zip lines and ride them, and can turn into a whole submarine in underwater sections. Blowing into the mic in these subsections lets you fire bubbles out at enemies. And for some reason, I didn't realize I could let out one continuous breath for mini bubbles. I was firing one at a time, so I ended up seeing stars in my eyes. This video is sponsored by Sega.
Oh man, I just dropped my chili dog on the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Sonic X Shadow Generations, now available on Nintendo Switch 2.
Shadow the Hedgehog is back, along with classic and modern Sonic, in Sonic X Shadow Generations, now available on consoles and PC, and now including Nintendo Switch 2. This collection offers an upgrade of the fantastic Sonic Generations game, and features an all-new adventure for Shadow, traveling through levels and encountering characters from his past as he faces his true enemy, Black Doom. Sonic X Shadow Generations also takes advantage of the improved hardware found on the Nintendo Switch 2, allowing for further optimizations and enhancements to the resolution and graphics compared to the original. Buy Sonic X Shadow Generations today using the link below. Thank you to Sega for sponsoring this video.
What? Everyone knows there's no germs during a sponsored segment.
The level design is weird in this game. At first, I thought it was my fault, going into this game with a more traditional 2D Mario mindset, and I guess that was still partially the case. But as I made my way through the game, I realized that wasn't the whole story. You know how in Mario games you can go down a pipe to a new area, but generally you can't turn around and go back up that same pipe? Or sometimes you try to go down a pipe, you can't, but then you discover later on that pipe was actually the exit pipe for a secret area. Yeah, that rule does not exist in Super Princess Peach. Pipes in this game are almost always two-way. If a pipe is designed as an exit pipe, that doesn't really matter. You can enter it and then go play around in that secret area completely backwards. I can sorta see why they chose to do this. It can give players two chances at finding these secret areas, one on each end of the path. But honestly, that just ended up confusing me way more. So many times in this game, I felt like I was playing the level wrong. I ended up backtracking a ton just to make sure I didn't miss anything because I was worried I did everything out of order. There are also moments in the game where you are meant to backtrack. Like there's this water wheel in the second world. You use gloom to turn the wheel, but then the game just says, hey man, good job, and you are specifically meant to go backwards to an area you've already been to in order to see that a pipe rose up a little bit and now you can go down it. Like there's nothing strictly wrong with this, it just kind of feels weird for a Mario-ish game to do it. But while that brings its downsides, the fact that it's not a Mario game allowed the developers to experiment and try out some pretty cool ideas. In Area 8, some levels have this super gigantic thwomp. Aw, it has a name. That will slowly close and open its eyes. Throughout these sections, there are statues of Peach and Perry in some sort of pose, and each time Mihari opens its eyes, you have to match the pose in order to avoid being detected. Or there are these areas with toxic gas that will hurt you, so you need to use Joy to blow it away, but also balance that with your vibe meter and actually getting through the level all in a timely manner.
But you know what? I bet this game doesn't even have one single gigantic belly button.
Oh. It's pretty neat seeing some of these bosses in a totally different context, but still with elements that we're used to. Both Petey Piranha and the Gooper Blooper from Sunshine are here, and Peach uses Gloom to fight them instead of Mario's Flood. King Boo from Luigi's Mansion is also present, and Peach lights up the room with rage and some torches. And then there are some original bosses as well, like a dragon that's also a little fairy, I guess? Sprites for the Koopalings can be found in the files, suggesting that they would have made their big return in this game rather than New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but they were cut for some reason. And the final fights against Bowser are pretty forgettable. First, he has a fight where he's normal-sized, using the Vibe Scepter to enhance some of his attacks. The second fight, he is gigantic, and you have to throw bob-ombs up at his face with the correct timing so that they explode right next to his face. And that's really it. But Super Princess Peach also has a crazy cameo. The legendary Starfy. The co-developers Toze also developed the legendary Starfy series, and once you see that, you can really spot the similarities, particularly in the art style. The Starfish, as he's called, appears in 3 different spots in the game, and doesn't really serve a purpose other than completing the enemy glossary and being a cool cameo. But it's still so cute that they took the opportunity and went through all the effort to reference their own little guy. I really have a hard time deciding whether or not I like this game. I mean, I don't dislike it, but I kinda hover in the category. It's clear that this game was developed with the young girl audience in mind, the main group that would be that interested in a Princess Peach game. But it seems like they also wanted core Mario fans to be able to enjoy the game too. So with that split focus, it feels like it ends up falling somewhere in the middle. And I don't know, both groups of people aren't gonna be overjoyed. It's honestly just an average game that is way too easy. Outside of the core game, Super Princess Peach has some extra modes. You can listen to the game's soundtrack in the music room, with tracks being purchasable in the shop and hidden throughout a few levels in the game. Puzzle pieces can also be found or purchased, and once all of the pieces for each puzzle are collected, you can attempt to complete the puzzles as fast as possible. And mini-games, 3 to be exact. Toad Jump is an auto runner where you blow into the mic to make Toad jump over enemies. In Toad Tote, you drag a Toad through a wildfire, aiming to get them to the castle at the end and not burn alive. And Toad Shot has you use the stylus to shoot at enemies while avoiding Mario and Luigi. These are nowhere near the level of the minigames in Super Mario 64 DS and New Super Mario Bros., but they're respectable. But your DS isn't the only place you can play minigames, because Super Princess Peach was a game that came out in the mid-2000s, so it had to have a companion flash game meant for advertising. Super Princess Peach Parasol Fall could be found on the Nintendo Arcade section of Nintendo's website, where they had a ton of random flash games themed around their properties. Parasol Fall was a basic game where you used your arrow keys to collect coins and avoid clouds. I guess we're just calling anything games nowadays. Though you technically control Perry in this game, not Peach, so can we really call this a Peach game? Speaking of Perry, throughout Super Princess Peach we learn about his backstory. After each boss, we can watch a dream sequence where Perry remembers more and more of his past. Apparently, he used to be a young boy who woke up one day in some mountains. He had a strange power and met an old man who took him in. Basically the plot of Dragon Ball. Then 2 evil guys showed up, demanding Perry because of his secret power. When they were refused, they turned Perry into a parasol for some reason. Perry escaped, ended up in a shop, and Toadsworth eventually purchased him, and the events of the game happen. And the game ends with Perry still as a parasol. That kinda sucks. The Vibe Scepter is also lost once again. Then they start talking about my mom and dad, and that the Vibe Scepter could be hidden somewhere in my house. Whatever that means.
And that would be the only Princess Peach game for nearly 2 decades. She would still make plenty of playable appearances in other Mario games, but it was amongst the usual Mario roster. She was never the star.
But then, in the June 2023 Nintendo Direct, a new game was teased where once again, Peach would be playing the starring role. And later that September, we got the full reveal of Princess Peach Showtime, with the game dropping on March 22nd, 2024. In this game, a Toad receives a flyer advertising the Sparkle Theater, and Princess Peach along with some Toads want to attend. But suddenly, a big gust of wind blows everything away, including her servants, and she loses her crown.
Dibs! That makes me the princess now.
The Sorceress Grape and her Sour Bunch have taken over the Sparkle Theater with the power of Darkle. Yes, it's that corny. Trapped inside, Peach meets the guardian of the Sparkle Theater. A Sparkle Sprite? Stella the Sparkle Sprite! Stella gives Peach a ribbon and bestows upon her the mysterious power of Sparkle, which has the most broad abilities ever. It can give Theets, these little guys, more strength or more motivation, it can grow plants and and also is an attack. Grape and the Sour Bunch have not only taken over the theater, but they've also infiltrated every single play currently going on, which apparently ruins the story that is integral to the theater's architectural structure, or something. So Peach and Stella must go into each and every play, defeat the Sour Bunch, and correct what's going on. But Peach doesn't do this just with the power of Sparkle. Each play has one of 10 themes, and Peach gains a transformation that matches the theme in order to complete the play properly. The Swordfighter sword fights, the detective solves mysteries, the patissiere patisses.
Alright, we got the setup done? Cool. This is a baby game.
Now that's not to say that makes it bad, but this is absolutely designed for the youngest possible audience who may or may not be also drooling on the controller. This is literally a 2-button game. A for jumping, B for whatever attack or function the current transformation has. You can also press one of the shoulder buttons to strike a pose, which can be used to find secret areas, but that is 100% optional and you can complete this game without ever doing it. So it's more like a 2¼ button game. Each transformation can be found in 3 different plays across the theater's 6 floors. Throughout all of these plays, sparkle gems are hidden and need to be collected in order to open up access to the higher floors. The Swordfighter plays are rather straightforward. There are Sour Bunch minions that Peach needs to defeat by using sword attacks. Occasionally, timing your attacks is important, or you press A to dodge an attack and jump behind, but overall it's fairly basic. In the ninja plays, Peach primarily sneaks around guards, attacking them from behind. These plays are particularly cute because they don't really take themselves seriously. Peach holds up a piece of paper or some cardboard grass in order to blend in like an actor would on stage, and the Sour Bunch don't see her because they are at the mercy of these stage play rules, I guess. In the Western plays, Peach becomes a cowgirl and uses her lasso abilities to defeat enemies and save Theets. There are also some pretty fun horseback segments where you dodge obstacles and at one point jump on and then back off a train. Oh, and then we Yoshi-side our trusty steed. In the baking plays, we get a brief break from the combat to play some baking minigames, decorating cakes, whipping up batches of cookies in order to uncorrupt Theets that have become evil, you know, the usual stuff. Peach can also become Persona 5 Joker, using gadgets, a grappling hook, and elite hacker skills to recover the city's stolen jewelry. In the figure skating plays, Peach ice skates so beautifully that merely being nearby causes enemies to be defeated. In her detective form, Peach solves different mysteries, recovering a stolen mural, finding imposters, and casually stopping the bombing of a national landmark. Peach becomes Mighty Peach in the superhero plays, saving Earth from alien invasions and meteors with her jetpack and her super strength and her big punches. As a mermaid, Peach can sing in order to control nearby fish, allowing her to open clamshells and find hidden treasures. These plays also have a rhythm minigame, which is truly one of the worst I have ever played, but thankfully they never last very long. And lastly, we have Kung Fu Peach, in plays about saving the Kung Fu master, his students, and entire school. Wow, they really just hated this one guy in particular. Every play's final performance has you take on that genre's boss, though you usually see them throughout the earlier plays in some capacity, and you use your incredibly basic moves to defeat them in one way or another. Each floor also has a boss, which you defeat in your base form. These bosses are actually a bit cooler, because they're all based on theater equipment. Lights, a projector, a disco ball, a spotlight. I guess all it takes to run a theater is a bunch of lights. Before confronting Madame Grape, you need to go down to the basement and complete all of the stages there. While Peach is granted the power of each transformation, its true power belongs to the Star Sparkla of each respective genre. Each can be rescued in these basement levels, sort of rounding out the stories found in each play. Then the final door appears, and you can fight the final boss. But not before one final transformation: Radiant Peach. During the final boss fight, Peach fires sparkle projectiles at Madame Grape while dodging her attacks. In the second phase, Peach gets granted energy by the Theets and goes Super Saiyan 2, becoming Super Radiant Peach. She blasts sparkle beams at the monstrous form Grape takes on, defeats her, and saves the theater. Now all of that sounds passable, and really that's how I would describe this whole game. None of the transformations are all too engaging. They all get basic movesets that never change, and what you do in each segment becomes pretty monotonous. I wish the movesets gained more abilities or had more to them, but none of that happens. The only upside is that each level lasts like only 10 minutes, so you aren't in there for very long. Also, the frame rate is absolute dog shit. Every cutscene, transformation, and even good portions of the actual gameplay all run well below 30 FPS. The developers of the game, Good Feel, have done other games for Nintendo in the past, and all of those have been fine, so I'm not really sure what's up here. This game definitely needed some more time in the oven though, because some sections are just rough. I do like how they use the theater aesthetic to their advantage with some creative ideas. The scenes are able to change in ways that only a theater setting could allow, like the whole stage will flip around and suddenly you'll be backstage. The horse is obviously not a real one, but it's held up by a variety of ropes from above. It really reminds me of the same way Paper Mario took advantage of the storybook theme just to enhance the whole experience. Honestly though, I don't think I can recommend this to anyone over the age of 10. It's really obvious what the target age demographic is here, and again, that's totally fine, you just gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Showtime is just incredibly surface level, and the best evidence I have for that is I just didn't have very much to say.
It's shocking to me that Nintendo really hasn't done much more with Princess Peach. Just these two games, and they leave a lot to be desired. With Super Princess Peach, they made a pretty okay platformer, but they got lots of complaints that it was far too easy. So then they took those complaints and made an even easier game. But I do understand the struggle that they have because of who Princess Peach is and the audience that would purchase a Princess Peach game, but I don't know, I wish we had a kind of better game. But enough of all that. My first order of business as the new princess of the Mushroom Kingdom is to figure out what the ending of Super Princess Peach meant.